A big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this week's video. If you need a website or a domain, go to squarespace.com/James for 10% off your first purchase.
I feel a bit nervous about being in the woods this early in the morning. I really don't like shooting in the woods at dawn. It's always runners who find really bad things this early in the day in woods, isn't it? I'm not running, obviously, so maybe that lowers my risk, but I always feel a bit on edge. Anyway, welcome to the woods. Very pretty woods at the moment. As you can see, it's covered in a sea of bluebells, and today I plan to try and photograph it. Not really my thing usually, photographing wildflowers and woodland exclusively, but I mean, this time of year, it just makes sense to have a go at it. Even if you do have some concerns about what you might find. I'm sure it'll be fine. No. About 10 seconds ago, there's a lovely bit of light just on this little flower here, but it's gone. I don't know if I got the shot. I like this fern when it lights up. Only half of it lighting up at the moment. Come on. Again, it was doing it a minute ago. I'm clearly not being quick enough. While we wait for that to happen, which it will while I come over here, let me moan about these screens that do move, but they are very limited. I wish all cameras had the tilty flippy screens, like my A74 that I'm filming this on now. And to tell you the truth, I didn't realise up until recently how controversial an opinion that was. And it was only when I was speaking to a street photographer friend that I sort of realised the downsides to a tilty flippy screen. Basically, it doubles the width of the camera, which is not massively discreet if you want to pull the screen out. But as far as I'm concerned, particularly for portrait photos, for getting low, I think they're indispensable. Tilty flippy screens. There's got to be a better name than that. Fern's still not lit up. But when it does, it would be an awful lot easier to shoot if I had more functionality than that for pointing the camera down. Look at that. Come on! God, walking through bluebells is literally a minefield. Try not to stand on any upright ones. I like these two uprooted trees, especially with the light. I don't know if you can see it on the GoPro, but there's a fern just at the foot of this tree. And then you've got the two uprooted trees, or one of them, in the background. So I'm just waiting for the light on this fern, but as you might be able to see, it's getting battered by the breeze. I think I'll probably have to just shoot it at f2.8 and accept that it's a shallow depth of field shot, even if that isn't exactly as it should be. I reckon it might be time to go and explore the woods past the first 10 feet. That's a nice tree though. See, if this A7R Mark IV had a tilty flippy screen, I could put this camera so much lower and really emphasise my shallow depth of field. I mean, I could do that, but I'll have to lie on the floor. And as I said, I'm too scared of the woods. Oh, there's a lovely bit of light on the fern just before the tree. Lovely stuff. I'm trying to find a hero image, and I've come down here because it's a lot less windy, which opens up the possibility of using more sensible ISOs. Lovely dappled light. Also, if you're not familiar with the term hero image, basically what I'm referring to is an image which kind of leads the set of images. So hero images typically have a couple of things in common. They're usually quite wide, and they usually have lots of the stuff in focus. They're vistas basically, and they inform the viewer of the other images to come, or where the other images to come are set. So if you're shooting like a magazine story, for example, you'll have lots of cutaway images, you'll have transition images, which all help to tell the story, but they'll be tied together by the hero image, which, like the lead image, basically. And yet I think this kind of works quite well for that. Nice group of trees, nice fern, Just to the left, obviously loads of bluebells. There's also a path leading through the scene. Yeah, it's quite pretty. And not as windy, so that's nice. I think one of the reasons I'm not massively into woodland photography, apart from a general fear of the dark, not liking to discover violent crimes, and needing to use my tripod a lot, is that I like to try and create space in my photos. And even when I'm shooting in cities, street photography stuff, I like to give my subjects space, and often in the woods, that's quite difficult to do. I mean, it's possible with enough time and effort, but I don't enjoy it enough to spend the time to do that, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I am quite enjoying this morning though. So, a nice bit of light on the bluebells just down there. Lovely. Right, I have switched to the A74 because I just wanted the flippy tilty screen for some low stuff, or in this case some high stuff. I just want to be right over the fern without my feet being in the way. And come on, there was light on this one a minute ago. Not anymore. Might go and see if that other fern is in the light actually. Looks like there's a path through here. Nope. It's still getting blown around. Oh, this one is though. This is the one from before. Yes. I've got the 35mm F14 on now as well, so shooting at F14 means my ISO doesn't have to be quite as high. And when you've got something as shallow as that fern, shooting at F14 doesn't really matter. Let's try this at F14. And the challenge, even at F14, is making it obvious that the fern is the subject. Because if the fern doesn't look like the subject, then for the most part it'll just look like an out of focus shot. As I was saying before, I think that'll do. I actually don't know why I've become obsessed with that fern, but never mind. Right, well, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little flower here which is far from the prettiest of all the flowers here, I'd say, but it's protected by this tree, so it's not blowing around as much as most of the others, which means I can autofocus on it. So this is the one we're focusing on, literally. And it's a good example of the importance of perspective. So here is a shot with the trees in the background. So I've got them really low, probably about the same height or just a bit lower than the flower, to make sure that the dark trees are in the background, and that really makes the flower stand out. If I was to move the camera up a bit and therefore have the light that's on the floor in the background, then I don't think the flower really pops quite as well. And that is a tiny change. We're talking a matter of, I don't know, 2 or 3 inches, but when you're photographing things really close up, that matters, and it pays to pay attention to things like that. And I mean, hopefully what you've taken away from today is that I am far from an authority on shooting things like bluebells, but this is universal. This isn't just bluebells or flowers. This goes for anything that you're taking close-up photos of. And when you're making a set of photos and you're working on things like cutaway shots, then minute changes in perspective matter. So yeah, I'll talk about things like hero image and cutaways and transitions and all that sort of stuff in another video, I think. But first, just want to make sure I've nailed this shot. And then I need a coffee.
I always get a little bit confused about the different names for different kinds of screens. I think actually this is most commonly referred to as a tilting screen, and the screen on the A74 that I was talking about, that's more commonly referred to as a fully articulated screen or articulating screen. I don't know. In any case, I'm curious to know, by the way, I've got a cold, you might be able to hear. I'm curious to know what your preference is, and if there are any advantages to a tilting screen like this, other than discretion, because I certainly can't think of any. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed some of those photos. I quite liked taking them actually. Definitely not my thing, but it's good to shoot. stuff that's not your thing every now and then. And a big thank you to the sponsor of this week's video, Squarespace. So I've been using Squarespace for years, and probably my favourite part of all the functionality available through Squarespace is the ability to have an online store. And I never thought it could be as easy as it is on Squarespace to list products, to deal with pricing, to deal with shipping and orders. All that stuff is taken care of by Squarespace. It makes it super simple, and yeah, I'm a massive fan. So if you're a photographer who's interested in selling books or prints or presets or anything like that, then definitely check out Squarespace as the solution, because I wouldn't look anywhere else. And it's obviously also a brilliant place to host an online portfolio too. So if you'd like to check out Squarespace, then go to squarespace.com and you can start a free trial. And after that, if you'd like to make a purchase, then go to squarespace.com/James and you'll get 10% off that first purchase. Hopefully you can understand me okay. My cold is, I can feel it setting in. Luckily it is just a cold. Anyway, I'll see you next week. Apologies, I've had a couple of weeks off. It won't happen again. It might, but yeah. I'd love to say I feel rested, but the cold says otherwise, doesn't it? It's the baby's fault.